Rameshvaram Temple History. Ramanataswami Temple is a Hindu temple dedicated to the god Shiva. Located on the Pamban island Rameshvaram in the state of Tamil Nadu, India. The length of Pamban bridge is 2.345 kilometers, connecting the Rameshwaram island and the mainland is the longest bridge in India constructed over a Bay of Bengal. It took close to 14 years to be completed. It was inaugurated by former Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi on the 2nd of October 1988. It is located in Ramanathapuram district. The town is a part of Pamban Island, also known as Rameshwaram Island, being associated with the legendary temple built in marvelous Dravidian style of architecture. Situated at the very tip of the Indian peninsula, the island is connected with Indian mainland by Pamban Bridge on Pamban Channel in Gulf of Mannar. Rameshwaram means Lord of Rama in Sanskrit, an epithet of Shiva, the presiding deity of the Ramanataswami temple. According to Hindu epic Ramayana, Rama, the seventh avatar of the god Vishnu, prayed to Shiva here to absolve any sins that he might have committed during his war against the demon king Ravana in Sri Lanka. The town has been changed many hands. Main amongst them were Cholas, Jaffna Kingdom, Alauddin Khilji, Malik Kafur, Pandya Dynasty, Vijayanagara Empire, followed by some other rulers who ruled the town for a very short while before British East India Company directly took over it and made it a part of Madras Presidency. The temple in its current structure was built during the 12th century by Pandya Dynasty. The temple has the longest corridor among all Hindu temples in India. The Ramanataswami temple's corridor is longest in the world. It has 1,212 pillars, each of them measuring 30 feet in height, with most having compositions carved on them. The breadth of these columned corridors varies from 17 to 21 feet. The main tower or Rajagopuram is 53 meters tall. Each pillar is sculpted in Nayak style as in Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple. The contribution of the kings of the Setupati dynasty in 17th century to the temple was considerable. Large amount of money was spent during the tenure of Pradhani Muthirulappa Pillai towards the restoration of the pagodas, which were falling into ruins. The Chokattan Mantapam or the cloistered precincts of the temple was reconstructed by him. The rulers of Sri Lanka contributed to the temple. Parakrama Bahu, 1153 to 1186 CE, was involved in the construction of the Sanctum Sanctorum of the temple. The eastern tower and shrine of Nataraj were built by Dalavai Setupati in 1649 CE. The second enclosure is ascribed to Chinna Ode Setupati and his son Raghunatha Tirumalai 1500 to 1540 CE. The third enclosure was constructed by Muttu Ramalinga Setupati 1725 to 1771 CE. His statue is located in the entrance of the corridor. During the early 15th century, the present-day Ramanathapuram, Kamuthi and Rameshwaram were included in the Pandya dynasty. In 1520 CE, the town came under the rule of Vijayanagara Empire. The Setupathis, the breakaway from Madurai Nayaks, ruled Ramanathapuram and contributed to the Ramanataswami temple. Ramanataswami literally means the master of Rama, which refers to Lord Shiva, which the temple is all about. There are two lingam inside the temple. Ramalingam by Devi Sita built by sand, and Vishwalingam brought by Lord Hanuman from Kailasha and installed by Lord Rama. Rama instructed that the Vishwalingam should be worshipped first. Since it was brought by Hanuman, the tradition continues even today. Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu is a major Hindu pilgrimage famous for its history and temples, and is home to one of the 12 Jyotirlingas, the Ramanataswami temple, where Shiva is worshipped in the form of a Jyotirlinga, meaning pillar of light. Rameshwaram is significant for many Hindus, as a pilgrimage to Varanasi is considered to be incomplete without a pilgrimage to Rameshwaram. The town, along with the Ramanataswami temple, is one of the holiest Hindu Chardham. 4 divine sites comprising Badrinath, Puri and Dwarka. The 4 monasteries are located across the 4 corners of India. And their attendant temples are Badrinath Temple at Badrinath in the north, Jagannath Temple at Puri in the east, Dwarkadish Temple at Dwarka in the west, and Ramanataswami Temple at Rameshvaram in the south. The journey across the 4 cardinal points in India is considered sacred by Hindus who aspire to visit these temples once in their lifetime. About temple tanks. There are 64 tirthas or theerthams in and around Rameshwaram. According to the Skanda Purana, 24 of them are important. Of the 24, 14 are in the form of tanks and wells within the precincts of the temple. Bathing in these tanks is a major aspect of the pilgrimage to Rameshwaram and is considered equivalent to penance. 22 of the tanks are within the Ramanataswami temple. The foremost one is called Agni Tirtham, the sea, Bay of Bengal. Jatayu, king of the birds, who fought in vain with the demon king Ravana to save Sita, is said to have fallen down at Jadayu Tirtham as his wings were severed. Vilondi Tirtham literally translates to buried bow, is located around 7 kilometers from the main temple. On the way to Pamban, it is believed to be the place where Rama quenched the thirst of Sita by dipping the bow into the sea water. Other major holy bodies are Hanuman Tirtham, Sugriva Tirtham and Lakshmana Tirtham. The Dhanushkodi History. The town of Dhanushkodi is believed to be the place where Lord Rama had ordered Lord Hanuman to build a bridge which could carry his army across to Sri Lanka, where demon king Ravana had kept Sita captive. As ordered, Lord Hanuman had obliged, and it was here that the Ram Setu was built by the Vanara Sena, bordered by the Bay of Bengal on one side and the Indian Ocean. On the other, there were many ferry services between Dhanushkodi and Talaimana of Ceylon, now called Sri Lanka, transporting travelers and goods across the sea. There were hotels, textile shops and dharmashalas catering to these pilgrims and travelers. Dhanushkodi in those days also had a railway station, a small railway hospital, a higher secondary school, a post office, customs and port offices etc. One can still see the sad remains of the railway line, some of the ruins of the offices in the hospital and the old school, which is reused now for the 500 inhabitants who continue to stay on the island. Before the cyclone, there was a train service up to Dhanushkodi called Boat Mail from Madras Egmore, now Chennai Egmore, which would halt on the southeastern side of Dhanushkodi township, where a waiting steamer transported passengers to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is just 31 kilometers away from Dhanushkodi. Before 1964, Dhanushkodi was a busy city with lots of crowd. In the 23rd of December 1964, on the 22nd of December, it crossed Vavunier of Ceylon with a wind velocity of 280 km per hour, moved into Palk Strait in the night and crashed into Dhanushkodi of Rameshwaram Island. On the night of the 22nd to the 23rd of December 1964, the cyclone almost destroyed the entire village. It was considered a ghost town as the place became unable to live. Dhanushkodi beach still is visited by tourists in large number. The main attractions of the beach are Ram Setu viewpoint and the Adams Bridge. The story of Ram Setu. Ram Setu is a chain of limestone shoals between the coasts of India and Sri Lanka. According to the epic Ramayana, the bridge was built by the Vanara army to rescue Sita, who was kidnapped by Ravana. Why is Rama Setu called Adam's Bridge? The bridge took its name from an Islamic tradition that the Garden of Eden was located in Sri Lanka. Sri Pada, a Sri Lanka mountain with a footprint-shaped mark at its peak, is often called Adam's Peak, and is identified with the place where the first man fell to earth after his expulsion from Eden.